Welcome to another edition of the IWC Talks 2. This time we have someone who challenges the bicycle many times. Welcome, Patrick Seabase.
Thank you. Hello, Philip.
Patrick, how did you get here?
Actually, by train. I love traveling in the train. My bike is at home, so yeah, I took the train. It's the easiest way.
For you, is it different not to go by bike, or do you enjoy also other kinds of transportation for you?
I actually really like traveling by train because it's very convenient. I can work in the train, answer all the emails, reply to them, and it's also sort of a recovery because I spend so much time on a bike, up to 30 hours a week. So I don't even use the bike to commute. So if I would want to have a coffee, I would prefer to take the bus or even walk, the bike has its specific purpose, and yeah, I mainly use it to ride and train, yeah.
One of those purposes was last year you did a really crazy thing. You started the vintage way of the Tour de France on your bike, and we have to say your bike is kind of a special bike. Tell us something about the bike you used for this Among Us challenge.
So last year I did the first mountain stage of the Tour de France, which was the stage of 1910.
Mm-hmm.
I did it on a fixed gear bike, on a track bike, basically the very first bike that was invented with two wheels which are the same size. It has one gear and no handbrakes, basically no brakes. So it's a fixed wheel mechanism. So basically, it's like a completely, let's say, complicated coaster brake. You know, the coaster brake where you just have to push down and it will brake. So with this kind of mechanism, you would be able to ride backwards. So basically all the way through, forward and backwards. So you need to push down and pull up to have the wheel being stopped. Yeah.
But I can imagine on the stages, in these 1910 original stages of the Tour de France, you have huge altitudes you have to surpass.
Yeah.
What is the toughest challenge on that tour?
So the whole stage, basically, from the specific 1910 mountain stage is 312 kilometers long, and you're climbing around 7,200 meters. So there's a lot of mountains you have to go through to reach the sea. And doing it with one gear, that was quite an effort. But back then, in 1910, they had also a lot of challenges to face because the intention from the organization was that only one guy would actually survive the stage. So he was waiting at the end of the line, at the finish line. There were couple guys arriving, but compared today, if you compare it with today, it's incomparable actually, because back then they had like a candle strap to the handlebar in a glass, steel bikes which were up to 20 kilos. They had dried meat in their pocket, and it was totally self-supported. And they had one gear and brakes, so which meant, because of the bad road conditions, unpaved. So all those things combined made it a very hard challenge, which inspired me, yeah.
So where does this inspiration exactly come from? Do you favor vintage lifestyle, or what is the meaning of you? Why you choose this hard way? And not saying that the Tour de France is the easy way, it's still, with modern gear, it's very tough. But
Absolutely.
You choose the toughest way.
I'm very much inspired by pioneers. I discovered that it was brawling subconsciously in me. So I somehow feel affected by pioneers, and those guys were pioneers in terms of the organizers and the competitors who actually rode it. They rode it on such minimal bikes, and that somehow inspired me to ride it with the bike I ride, which is a minimal bike. And this specific bike inspired me because of its aesthetical appearance. It sounds super superficial, but the look and vibe of this bike somehow caught my eye, my attention, and yeah, that was a couple years ago, like 12 years ago. And if you look at it, it's such a simple form. It's so pure, and also you can do everything with it, you know. And I like sustainability and quality, things that endure time, which are based on quality.
Would you say you spend so much time with the bike? Is there some of a, let's say, relation to the bike? Does it have a nickname, or is it for you more a tool? So maybe that sounds a bit weird, but I think if you do so many things, successful things with that bike, is there a special relation to that particular bike?
To be honest, not when I'm off the bike. When I'm on the bike, I'm 100% connected with this machine. It's like as if you're strapped to a rocket, because as I told you, it's a track bike, a fixed gear, so everything you do impacts the bike and your future immediately. So those kind of things tend to make you have a profound relationship with this machine. And off the bike, it's, yeah, I clean it every now and then, but I'm not the guy who spends hours, you know, and cleaning it. But yeah, I have a very profound relationship with the bike when I'm on it, because it's yeah, it's my life insurance. Of course, I check the parts and everything. Are the tires not worn out? Is the chain in a good condition? All those things. Are the screws, the bolts tight enough? Those are things I control, but I'm not the guy who spends a lot of time with the bike cleaning it. Yeah.
But speaking about time, you just said it. It's obviously a very dangerous endeavor you're doing there, and you try to find new challenges also to face with your bike. What does time means to you on the bike and off the bike? Could you tell us the difference?
Time is very relevant to all of us. I mean, to me, I'd like to structure things, but still have a spontaneous component in there, which basically means I try to be very efficient, combine things. You know, if there's one thing I would need to do, I try to think of other stuff I could combine. So the efficiency is very important, and time is never stopping, you know. So it's constantly moving, and I'm a kind of guy who's also constantly moving, because motion is what keeps me driving. And time it's very important. And one interesting thing is you can't change it. It's constantly moving, and I deal with it, you know. Sometimes I run out of time or ride out of time. Sometimes I spend too much time on a bike. But a funny thing is, or a fact, when I ride, normally people would say I ride 100 kilometers. So what I always do is, on my cycle computer, you wouldn't see kilometers nor speed. You would see the time, the riding time. So there's another aspect. You can probably see that time has a huge relevance in my life. I'd rather spend 4 hours than riding 120 kilometers, you know. Maybe I'll do 120 kilometers during those 4 hours, depends on the day and the terrain. But time has been and is always something which I'm very connected to. Yeah.
Perfect. So what's upcoming next after doing this one? What's your next big challenge?
My next thing is going to be basically discovering new places. Certainly not only from a performance perspective, mostly in a cultural way. What I want to do, or what I'm going to do, is I'm going to do more like travel. Excuse me, I'm going to do more travel series. Basically, the next one's going to be in Iran, the first episode, where I want to somehow transcend or expose a country from its beautiful side, cultural, visually, and not only performance. It's not going to be like, oh, Patrick's going to ride thousands of kilometers at the highest mountains. Of course, this is going to be some sort of an aspect of the story, but the bikes should be the tool, you know, to visit people. Maybe I would visit a swords maker who forged swords since I don't know 1940, and he's still alive, and it's only him. He can do the specific swords. I like those kind of things. But alone, I'm gonna have a specific road, travel there, meet interesting people, and try to inspire other people. So those things are gonna be the path I'm gonna take. Yeah.
Perfect. That sounds very exciting, and we're looking forward to this. We have a tiny little ritual in the IWC Talks too. We will ask you a couple of questions. You have 60 seconds to answer them, so we do it quite fast. And I think this will be the part you like because it's going to be fast. For me, time is
Constantly moving.
best song for cycling.
Arve Hendrickson, everything from Arve Hendrickson.
The most dangerous moment.
Losing control.
Meat or greens?
Greens.
Gravel or tarmac?
Grarmak, both together.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Track bikes for me are
The purest form of transportation.
Alps or Pyrenees?
Alps.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Holidays for me are
Rare.
perfect. Patrick, thank you very much for your time. We're looking forward to hear more about your endeavors around the world with your bicycle. And we hope that you tell us more in the next IWC Talks too. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, Philip.